Hey everybody, how are you doing this evening? This is Mike Schroeds, and I'm very, very honored to be on here tonight. Have a very special guest that I want to introduce you to, but before I do, I just want to, as always, I like to thank especially Mike Killamet, Sean, Mike, John Wetmore, Danielle, Rachel, Brittany, all the people that are involved at our home office in Atlanta. Man, just appreciate all that you do. I appreciate your hard work that you've put into this, and just seeing all the success that everybody's having has really been encouraging. Um, I love seeing, especially some of the new people are coming on and they're hitting it hard, and that's really what you got to do to be successful in this business. And I have someone who's on here tonight that I'm going to interview. His name is Marcus Banks, and he is just one of those stories, man. So I don't know how deep he's going to get tonight. I don't know how personal he's going to get because we really didn't go over it. But it might be a good idea to go ahead and get some tissues. I have them nearby because Marcus is a great story. So Marcus, if you will, just go ahead, come on, introduce yourself, say hi to everybody. And just kind of what we're going to do, Marcus, is we're going to go from like where you was to where you are to where you're going. Okay, kind of the history, the present day, and then your vision for the future. You've been with us, and tell them how long you've been with us, and then I'll jump back on and ask you some questions.
Okay. Well, Mike, I definitely appreciate you having me on. It's definitely an honor. I appreciate that. Um, I don't know where to start, but I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. Just a brief background. Raised by a single mama, five of us. Um, Grew up in poverty, very poverty stricken. But had to go several days without eating several times. But kind of fast forward to an adult. I have a wife and my two children, and just 6 months ago, we were homeless. It was a pretty bad situation. We was actually staying with friends in their cabin because obviously we lost the home because we actually had to pay for a funeral for a son that we lost, and it was a snowball effect, man. And I was working at a garbage company, and that kind of sticks out in my mind through this process because my wife knows that I hate getting my hands dirty, so my hands stay dirty, obviously, and just reaching in bags with rats and mice and maggots and things of that nature with my bare hands, and it was a really big blow to my confidence. It really was, and it was at my lowest point, man. And but thankfully, I went online looking for opportunities, and I found Family First Life. Then eventually, I met you, which you've been a tremendous blessing to a tremendous man. I can't stress that enough, and I thank God for putting you in my life, man. It's You've been a blessing, breath of fresh air, definitely. But now our lives, me and my family, our lives is changing right in front of my eyes, and it's sometimes it's hard to believe. And like I showed my wife actually not too long ago, my our balance in our checking account, and we got choked up because I never thought that I would get there ever, never thought I would get there. And it's been a true blessing.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for sharing that, Marcus. Um, I mean, the part about you being homeless and losing a son. If you would, could you do you mind elaborating on that just a little bit?
Yeah.
What happened, how long ago that was. Just take maybe a couple minutes and share with everybody what happened when you lost your son.
Yes, sir, definitely. It was actually in 2006, 2006, 2016. Um, my wife was pregnant, and we was living in Alabama. And a long story short, her OBGYN was in Louisville, Kentucky, which is my home city. And so we was literally on the road for my son to be born. And so we actually hit the road going through Athens, Alabama. Not sure if you familiar with that area, but we was laughing and joking. I told her I was going to look up on YouTube how to deliver a baby. If she was going to labor on the way to Louisville. But long story short, man, she told me that her water broke, and I can remember getting this feeling in my gut that it was something worse than that. So I told her to check, and she kind of stood up in the car and kind of checked in her pants, and blood gushed out everywhere. And we had our two children in the back as well. And man, it was one of them things to where it's like I was dreaming. I didn't think it was real, And so blood's all over my car. My kids are screaming, and I don't know what to do, And so I call 911, and they're giving me directions to the nearest hospital. And it was one of them things to where it was. I think about it today, and I just lose my breath, because it was such a blow, and I deal with that trauma today. To this day, I deal with it. My wife deals with it, and I have a son. He has he's autistic, and he asks me all the time, "Where's baby Elijah at?" And I just got to explain to him that he's with Jesus, But it was one of them things to where I didn't think I was going to recover from. I really didn't, and so that led to us trying to get the funds to. Because we didn't want to just throw him in some funeral home, just forget about him. We wanted to have a service for him, and so that's when financially it started going down the drain. Just trying to pay for it, lost a home, and it was pretty bad. And so we ended up homeless for almost 2 years, homeless, and a good part of that, no car, no job. It was such a bad place, man, such a bad place. And I didn't see a way out. I didn't see it. And I was so close to giving up, but my love for my family wouldn't allow me to do that. I wanted to give up. But my love for my family, it wasn't an option. So it's like, when you see a scary movie, you want to cover your eyes. I was just forced to look at it. And so, and there it was.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for sharing that, Marcus. I know that's a dark time in your life, but I kind of felt like it was important for everybody to understand what you've gone through, because in a few minutes I want to talk about your mindset, and you actually have one of the most amazing mindsets that I've ever come across, and knowing your future and the friendship and the business partnership that we have developed, I've really gotten to know you and know your heart, and that's why I wanted you to kind of go back there. Let us all know about the bad things that happened, because everybody on here has a story, and everybody on here has gone through something. Your story is totally different than mine. And someone watching this video tonight, their story is going to be totally different than yours. But we all have a story, and we're all coming, from something. Today I put a quote on Facebook that was talking about, the life that we planned. When things go wrong with the life that we planned, we have to kind of learn to adjust so that we can get ready for the life that's waiting for us. And, I'm with you, Marcus. 3.5 years ago, I'd have never dreamed that I would be in the situation that I'm in, financially, business-wise, where I'm not struggling, where I'm not worrying all the time about money. Marcus, can you tell us, just like, maybe go back 6 months when you and I first met, maybe back to August 2019, about that time. Let us know what you was doing for a living what kind of money you was making. Let us know a little bit about that so we can really get an idea of where you was coming off of being homeless, or you're still homeless, really, and losing your son a couple years ago, and how this has been eating at you, and how you just needed a break, man. You just needed a break.
Yeah, sure. I was rolling in the big bucks, you know. Uh, I I was working at a shipping company in Nashville actually, and making 475 a week, bring home, and and so it was one of them things to where I just thought that was it, you know, because I was still in my mindset of like this is it, and so I remember when I first met you, and you told me that you recommended me running at least a full day in the field, you know, if I was going to do this part time. And so I tried part time for a few months, and it wasn't clicking because I would call you and call you and call you like, hey, I would sit with several families and it just wouldn't work. And so, well, for starters, I will say something that opened my mind is you $2,000 in a car, and that, man, it changed my life. That changed my life. So we were able to get home and obviously get back and forth to my job, but I was afraid. I was afraid, first of all, succeeding because I didn't think I deserved it. Because you know the trauma growing up as a kid and things of that nature. But I knew that if I went full time, that I wouldn't. I had no choice but to make it, but to succeed. But anyway, but right before I quit my job, last day of February, I said, Mike, what would you do? You said, man, if I was you, I wanted, you told me that you wanted to tell me in September to quit my job and go full time. But I was so afraid of that. But I made a decision. I quit my job on the last day of February, and I had $30 in my checking account. I had $30 and I was scared to death. I was so scared. Didn't know how it was going to turn out. But man, I jumped in it, and with your help, your mentorship, and just the mindset of just like that's sink or swim now. What am I going to do? I burnt that bridge. My former manager was calling me. I burnt that bridge. I had to focus, and so man, like the first week, I made more than what I did the whole month at my job. And man, it's been a game changer. I love this company, the best opportunity in the country.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Marcus. Yeah, you know, I'm always hesitant to tell someone to quit their job. You know, I mean, when I realized the kind of money I was going to make in this business, I left my opportunity with the federal government. You know, obviously I had already stepped away from ministry at the time. I had 3 small businesses that I was just trying to keep afloat. And I just stopped it all and started doing Family First Life on a regular basis. And it was kind of scary, but, you know, I had launched out and done things before. So for me to tell you, but I knew, I knew in my heart that you had to get away from $475 mentality, because I knew you had the ability to do this, and you just needed to be able to get away from it. And when you said you was willing to do it, I was very hesitant. I don't know if you remember that or not, but when you said you was willing to step away and you just wanted to start, I felt like that job was what was holding you back from being successful. And you made that decision. So can you just kind of share like what that first couple of weeks was like? Go ahead, share the fear of quitting your job to take where you knew you'd get an hourly paycheck and going straight commission. Share that with everybody for just a moment, if you will, please.
Yeah, of course. The fear of just the unknown, you know. So I've left the the comfort zone of getting a weekly paycheck. I know exactly what day I'm gonna get it. I know exactly how much it's going to be. Even though it wasn't even enough to cover my bills, it was the comfort of knowing that I was going to get this amount on this day every week. And so when I quit, I was so afraid, man. All types of thoughts started going through my head. But it was a lot of self doubt initially, a lot of self doubt because I've never worked for myself ever, never. I always had a job and always working hard and things of that nature. But it was a lot of self doubt, man, and I used to sabotage myself. And you remember the calls? I used to call you almost every night about it. But just following the system and just jumping out there, just I was sticking my toes in the water, you know. And so then I just dived in. I dived in, man. I love basketball, and so my basketball mentality started to come, like like I want to kill you on the court. You know, that's my mentality. I want to slit your throat while I'm smiling at you. That's my mentality on the court. And so I took that same mindset because basketball taught me about life, man. It really did. And so I took that same mentality and brought it to this business. And I'm learning every day. I make a ton of mistakes, but I try my best to learn from them. And just do it. That's the thing. Just making a decision and just do it. That was my biggest thing.
Yeah, I remember, Marcus, you had a hard time focusing on this business because you had your job and you were so stressed financially. And I remember that very well. So going a little bit more forward, you know, you quit your job and you started working with FFL and you're self-employed now. You know, you're running your own business and things start to click for you. And it started happening fast. I mean, you had a couple disappointing days. I remember, you know, a couple of days, you told me one day you got blanked or something like that. And you know, that happens to all of us. But you started to grow and I think the most important thing is trusting the process. From my understanding, I've never worked anywhere else in insurance, but we do it a lot different from what it sounds like than other companies. And there was a process that when you bought into that process, Marcus, things begin to change for you. And I remember a discussion you and I had. I said, Marcus, if you will do what I tell you to do for 6 months, your life is going to change forever. And you've just done exactly. I mean, you've been the perfect person to have on our team. You've just listened. You ask, you listen. And I think that's something very important that everybody needs to understand on this call, especially if you're new. Just listen to the person who's trying to get you to where you need to be. If they tell you, you know, I mean, the hardest thing for me after I booked an appointment, I got in the house, was called Killamant. Oh, no husband, leave. The hardest thing to do was to walk out on a one leg. I bought that, you know, I paid for the lead. I'd spent the time to get there. I needed the money. But you know what I had to do? I had to trust the person who really, really knew how to run this business and knew what he was talking about. And, you know, just so you know, I've never closed the one leg in 3 years. So it's very important that we just listen and we ask the right questions and we lean on each other. So Marcus, a few weeks ago, you had a big chargeback. It was about $4,000. And almost everybody that I've ever brought into Family First Life, when they got a chargeback, they totally freaked out. And you know, myself included. I remember when I first started getting chargebacks, no one told me I was going to get a chargeback. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about this business. Everybody knows that. So Marcus, your mindset is amazing to me because you come from a very poor community. You grew up poor. You've had some very tragic events recently. You was homeless. And here you are just maybe 6 months ago. I mean, really in a bad place, destitute. Probably, my guess is you probably even thought about entertaining going back and into where you came from and maybe living the life like they lived so you can make a little better money. I mean, I don't know that, but I would assume that that's how I would think anyhow. But your mindset has been amazing. Number one, I know you're committed to God, and that is amazing. Your walk with God is amazing. The other thing is your love for your family is so evident to me. And I think that was infused into you by your mother from the conversations we've had. Can you just share real quick, Marcus? Um, where do you get your mindset from? Because you look, when I called you and we spoke about that, when I saw it come through, I was like, oh boy, I'm going to hear from Marcus today. And it wasn't a half hour later, you called me and you said, hey man, I got a big charge back. And I was like, well, my first thought was, well, his voice tone's good. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to walk him off the cliff. So he said, where, and you said the right thing, Mike, where did I go wrong? And I said, you gave somebody a premium that they couldn't afford. And that's why they canceled, because they liked you, Marcus. And they canceled because they couldn't afford the premium. And you got a big charge back. But you said, okay, great, lesson learned. And that was it. I've never heard from you about it again. Can you share with us your mindset? Because you impress me with the way you think.
Yeah, sure. My mindset is I made a decision like this is it. So Family First Life is it. So that decision is made. So there's no running from that. So this is it. So now I just got to deal with the bad things that happens here. So it's that simple to me. And because I knew I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to run from it. But my biggest thing was, how can I minimize it in the future? Because I know I can't just do away with it because it happens to everybody. I just wanted to know, how can I minimize it? But it's just a mindset of just like whatever it takes. It's like I don't have anything to go back to. I don't. I didn't go to college. I don't have a degree. I didn't grow up with mom and daddy. They put me through school. None of that. Like none of that. And so my mindset is to make this thing work. That's my mindset. That's my mission. That's my goal. And like I said earlier, I just got that same mindset on the basketball court to here. And so it just is what it is, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I had my phone on. I shouldn't have when I was sitting here doing this recording. So when you got that charge back, did you ever get anxious? Did you ever get mad? Kind of walk us through that when that chargeback came and your mindset. To me, like it was strong. I really want people to understand. You didn't complain. You didn't gripe. You didn't like, hey, Mike, man, these clients are stupid. I've had people call me, the clients are stupid. The leads are bad. Mike, no one's picking up the phone. I mean, you just don't say stuff like that.
Yes, sir, for sure. I will say when I first looked at the email, I seen America. I was like, did I have a piece of business? And I looked and I seen the number. Then I seen the little dash right before the number, like the minus. I was like, what? And automatically, I was like, a chargeback. And so my initial thought was, oh crap. But then I had to shake that off, because if I dwell on it, it's going to snowball. So I had to shake that off. And so I was like, man, what did I do? What did I go wrong? And so that's when I called you. And I ain't no need of me complaining about it or whining about it, because when I get done whining, it's still gonna be there. So I want to fix it. That's my thing. I want to fix it, man. But as far as writing new business, and as I start to get that feeling like, man, I'm working for free, paying the charge back. But then again, I had to shake that off, because it happens to everybody. And so I just made a decision to just tackle it and don't even worry about it. Just hurry up and get it done. Because if I dwell on it, the way I think, it's going to snowball and it's going to hurt me. So I just shake it off fast.
Yeah, that's really good. I appreciate that. I'll be honest with you. You handled your first big chargeback much better than I handled mine. So just good job on that. Way to keep your mindset. So where you was, let's just say in August, you was homeless, making very little bit of money. Not when we did your budget, I remember you didn't even make enough money to pay the bills when we did your budget. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I remember going. I was like, Marcus. I mean, you're not losing anything because you wasn't getting ahead. So you was homeless, and then you went ahead in February. You made the jump. You went full time with Family First Life, and now we're kind of getting to a point where I mean, you had a spectacular weekend. Over $12,000 issue paid this weekend alone. Dude, I got to know, how do you feel after you wrote $12,000 this weekend?
Dude, it's oh my gosh. It's how to pinch myself, man, because you gotta understand where I come from, where I grew up at. We used to go 3 and 4 days without eating zero, nothing, like nothing. Just drink water and sleep, like nothing. And so that was huge. That was huge, man. And I proved to myself that I could do it. So I said that was the biggest thing, man. Just because I don't know if you remember, but a couple months ago, I told you I wanted to write 10K. I wanted to write 10K. And so I proved to myself that I can do it, man. And when I got home, I told my wife. She thought I was lying. That's how bad it was. She thought I was lying, you know. And so, but so she started screaming. She was like, "I'm so proud of you," stuff like that, man. Because she's been there through it all, man. She's been there through. I would have left me if I was her, you know.
So Marcus, I got a question I want to ask you, or I want to put something out there. Can you imagine 6 months ago you didn't have a place to live, and this weekend you sat in the home of a doctor who's very successful and helped them? How does that make you feel?
Oh man, it's great because my self image was so bad, man. It was so low, and I always thought of myself lesser than, you know, and and to know that I've been putting in the work as far as behind the scenes, like reading and trying to get my mindset right, to where I was able to look them right in the eye, like, hey, I belong here. This is what I do. I pulled my license out. I laminated my license. I slapped that bad boy on the table. Like, I got the license. You got a license, but it ain't this kind of license, you know? And so look them right in the eye, man, and just like, I'm here. This is what I do. I explain what I do, and I love it, man. It's amazing.
And they called you the next day and tell us what happened then.
Oh man, so they called me and wanted to get the husband covered, and so I had to go all the way back out there and and just he's a retired engineer, and so just knowing, because back then, like 6 months ago, no, I probably wouldn't even showed up at the appointment, and if I would have found out there was a doctor, yeah, I would have messed it up like big time. But it just comes. I realize now it's a mind thing. It's a mind thing because I'm still 6'2". I'm still 270. I still look the same, but it's my mind that I'm trying to, change, And so that was a huge accomplishment for me.
Yeah, I remember a little while back when you first started getting into business, and you called me and you was like, Mike, they kind of look scared of me when I show up. And me and you had an honest talk. And I want to share that for just a moment because I think it's really important. And I asked you for permission to speak freely. Marcus, do you remember when I asked you if I could just say something?
Yeah. I remember you saying those exact words. Can I speak freely? I definitely remember that.
And what I said, and I remember telling you, I said, Marcus, you cannot worry that because you're knocking on the door of a white person that they are any better than you because you're black. Do you remember us having that conversation?
Sure do. Yep, sure do.
And I'm going to tell you, man, you took that so well. And man, I wish everybody who may come from a minority background, who may have these preconceived ideas, man, you handled that so well, because I knew that could be a make or break in our relationship, but I felt like our relationship was strong enough I could say that. And you told me, you said, Mike, that's exactly what it is. And, you know, they were probably seeing you as nervous knocking on their door. So that might have made them nervous or what have you. But here's the thing, man, you overcame that and you decided just to go with what we taught you to do. And now you're actually, man, you're one of the really up and coming people in our company. And I couldn't be more proud of you. And I want you to know that, Marcus, I am extremely proud of you. You know, I was talking to Sean Mike not long ago, and you and I had just gotten off the phone, and Sean was interviewing me on one of the programs that he has on the next level, I believe it was. And I was like, Sean, I'm sorry, man, if I'm emotional. I said, but I have an agent that this is why I want to be successful, to help guys like this. And man, you've changed me a lot, Marcus, and you've touched my heart. And I love you, man. I love you like a brother. And I'm just so proud of you. And I know your future's bright. Can you tell us kind of maybe what your goals for this year are? And maybe, I know you started hiring. Let us know kind of what you're doing in hiring, what your goals for the rest of this year might be.
Yes, sir. Personally, my goal this year is 200,000. So that's my goal this year. And next year, Hall of Fame, like no ifs, ands, or buts. Hall of Fame next year. So it's I got to do it. It's not an option. But hiring, I do have several people in classes. I haven't hired any licensed agents yet, but I do. I've been posting numbers and sharing our team numbers and things of that nature, and people been reaching out and showing them the video of actually Mike Killamit on what we do in Wild Family First Life, and they're getting back with me, get them their vouchers and things of that nature. So I have several people in classes. But definitely, man, I personally want to do 200,000 this year.
Okay. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. You need to up that, man. I think you can do Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, I'm with it. Hey, I'm gonna shoot for it then.
And man, you keep having weekends like the one you had this week, it won't be a problem. Hey, real quick, Marcus, just something personal. I know we need to wind this down, and I appreciate you jumping on here and doing this interview with us and kind of bearing your soul. But Marcus, you've never been to the beach, right?
I'm sorry?
You told me you've never been to the beach.
Correct. Right. I've never been to a beach. Never.
Can you just kind of share with everybody how, I mean, we've heard the story. You didn't even have a home 6 months ago, and tell everybody what's happening this summer.
Oh man, now you're really gonna try to get me choked up. It's man, just the fact that I can afford to go down to the beach this summer. We're planning it, my family and I. And we're gonna stop by and see you and Miss Lori, definitely. And just the thought that, and I'm gonna buy leads, and I'm gonna work for 2 or 3 days, and we're gonna enjoy the beach for 4 days, man. And that stuff like that, man, it does something to me, man. Like, yeah, the big house, it's nice car, yeah, that's fine. But like creating memories like that, that I've never had it as a child, never. And just to be quite frankly, I couldn't imagine my son seeing what I seen at his age, seeing people murdered and robbed and stuff. It's not a life. That's not a life to live for a kid anyway. But just the thought that I can do that for my family, man, it chokes me up. It chokes me up, man, and because the other reason why I do it, because I'm fine with ramen noodles and sleeping on the floor. I'm good, and I'm good. You know, I didn't have anything anyway, but it's for them that I do everything that I do, man, for them.
Well, Marcus, just so you know, a lot of what you're doing is for me, and I know that God has brought you into my life, and I love you tremendously, and I'm so honored to be in business with you, and also the relationship that we are developing. Marcus, I just want to say from everybody here at Family First Life, first of all, welcome, but a big thank you for sharing some very personal stuff tonight. And man, you are a great man, and don't let anybody ever take that away from you. I love you, buddy, and I appreciate you jumping on with us tonight. Okay.
I appreciate you, man. I love you to death, man. My big brother of another color, as I call you. I love you, man.
I'm still gonna post your butt up.
Ah, any day.
All right, brother. I love you, man.
Hey, love you too, man. You take it easy. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.